Okay, I wonder if you can actually see me. Hopefully, this thing is not making a like a little squeak noise. Usually, I got two mics, and this one's not really doing it for me. Hopefully, it doesn't do it anymore. But anyway, obviously this is kind of a mess here, but ignore that. Today we're going to do some patterns. What is it called? I forget. In Spanish, it's called moldes. Yeah, moldes. It's like molds, but just with a LES, moldes. But anyway, molde. Yeah, I was right. So basically, we're doing patterns, and we're gonna make a shirt. So like this, right? I'm not like this precisely because it's just a collar, but it's gonna be a regular T-shirt, and I'm going to try to get back into this thing. Something I've been working on, and if I upload that video, I'm not sure, but if I do, you will have more context. If not, just ignore what I'm gonna say right now next, which is basically trying to improve and trying to make an actual change, right? So, like I remind you, right? If I have faith in God and I have salvation through Christ Jesus, with I confess with my heart and my lips, right, that Christ is Lord, then the things that will follow will be faith, right? Of course. And then secondly, it is obedience, right? And I think that's the key that I miss very, very much. And I think all of us do, where we feel like we're procrastinating, where we have the truth, but now like what's there now? We already have what we need, right? It's like what's the point, you know? But I think that is the error where we become more of sort of like altruistic to the point. I hope I'm using the right terms, right? But to the point where we have salvation, we have the truth, therefore we're saved and we're good, and we don't need to do anything else to push it further. We already even need to earn it. It's all there. That's it. And then therefore we don't need to even like talk about it, right? So, and of course, if you go right into, I believe it's in John or Matthew, where he says that go into the world and make disciples of others. Also, preach the gospel to all creation, right? So that is one way, but also we limit those skill set, those talents that we have, where we can use and utilize to spread the gospel. And I think that is my error, where I don't know how to get back into this, right? I don't know how to get back into my clothing, into my art side, my creativity side, and all that kind of stuff, because I kind of downplay it to a point where it's like, what is the point to it? It doesn't bring me any value. It used to, because before I would use it for recognition. I wanted to be somebody, fulfillment, and all this type of things. But now that I notice is meaningless, like vanity, vanity, right? Everything is meaningless. And I think to that point, into what I say to that argument is that if you don't have God into it, then yeah, it's meaningless. And again, it's like it doesn't have purpose. Of course, we put ourselves into these situations, and we want to make it purpose. We want to make it work. We want something, we want these words to live past beyond us. And I believe if it's not centered to God, if it's not connected to God, it won't really make it to that point. You will pass away, you wither away, and no one will remember you. You pass away, and everyone forgets you. And I believe that's in ex, Escalties. I don't know how to say in Spanish, but basically escalations, right? Where hopefully I'm saying correct too, but where Solomon, where he mentioned, I think it's chapter 2 or chapter 3, but I think chapter 3, verse 16, 17, where he talks about under the judgment seat, under the sun, basically, the wicked stay there. So he's basically saying ultimately that there's no point to any of this on earth. Everything came before it, everything will come after it. People will forget you, no matter what you want to do. It doesn't stick. Everyone forgets. So basically, it's like amnesia, and I think that's what I currently do all the time. So that's why obedience is very, very important to me now that I'm kind of understanding it a lot more. Now, kind of listening to what scriptures and actually what God really is telling me in my heart, and I think that's the point of all of this. And then if you kind of back off of that, you become more nihilistic. You become everything is meaningless, no point, because sometimes it's a reflection of what we are, what humanity really is. Fundamentally, we have these instincts in us where we can harm one another or we can grow one another and do good by one another, but yet we choose to do the opposite, and we want to do what's good, but we don't do it. Therefore, something's wrong with us, and we can't figure that out. And if it's sin, right, when we say it's sin, then it's like there's no point, right, because I feel like sinful to a point where God can't save me. And at that, I say, is nihilistic, but also very prideful, because both ways, kind of, it's like prideful in the sense that I can do it on my own, prideful in the sense that no one can help me. Everyone is wrong, therefore no one is correct, therefore no one can help me. And you put that under God too. You kind of put that Jesus in the box. And I think when I look at the cross and I look at the suffering, the amount of suffering, and the fact that not only he was willing to do it, but the fact that he did it and put himself in that position only therefore to understand me, I have no excuse. And I think that's what Paul is basically saying in Romans chapter 1, where I think it's like verse 19, verse 20, where we are without excuse, where we kind of suppress the truth, right? That God understands us. God is there. God is real. And therefore God knows best. And we have to rely on him. And I think, again, where it's like, don't rely on your understanding, but rely on his. And that's what I'm trying to do all the time. And that's why I'm trying to attach obedience to my faith. And therefore the works come right after, naturally. Because I have the truth. Now I have to obey. I have to follow his commands, which is the first greatest command, which is, love your Lord with all your heart, mind, and soul, right? And then after that, you can love your neighbors, which is this is like Matthew chapter 22, verse 37 to 39, I believe. And then he says, "This is my first greatest command." And the second one is just like it, which is love your neighbor as you love yourself. And the reason I believe he puts that first is because you have to love God. Therefore, you will have a reflection of what you should look like, what you should be, and that's a reflection of Jesus. And once you know that, you know your sins, you know who you are, but when you know that God can change that, and he justified you on that cross, now you have this process of called sanctification, where you're growing with him, which is a process. You are going to fail. It is true. We are still in this world. We're still part of this suffering world, but we will get to it together. And I think that is what we're missing, but you need obedience to that faith. You need to follow me. And that's what I believe this is in either in Joshua chapter 22 or chapter 23. I don't remember quite, but I remember something I'm sorry. It goes something like this, where it's like, love your Lord, or love God with all your heart. And I believe walk with him, or follow his commands, or walk in his commands. And there's a lot more. I'm sorry. I'm having a lot of brain farts. And my dogs just are barking because my family just came. But it's going to get loud. But what I'm trying to say is I have anxiety, right? I have depression. Sometimes I have all these thoughts in my head that's just running back and forth. I'm hitting a wall all the time. And I realize that I'm the one that's building this wall. I'm the one that's actually isolating myself. I'm the one that's really telling no one knows what I'm going through. Therefore, I'm not going to say anything because they can't understand me. Who's really saying that? It's me. And I think we have to break it layer by layer. And the only way you can break it is not you, and it's not yourselves. It's what God did, is by sending his son to the cross. And then that shows the reflection of what love is. Therefore, love breaks every wall. And I'm not gonna lie, again, that's why I love God so much, because even when I am in doubt, even when I am like sort of this nihilistic route, or kind of deconstructing sometimes, I feel, and I'm kind of pacing back and forth, I feel like I hit this wall and I have to face the fact that I am wrong. But when I feel and I submit to the Lord again, I feel this overwhelming love, and I feel this overwhelming nature, and I know that's the Holy Spirit, but I also know that it is true. And I feel the sense of like doubt goes away, the anxiety goes away, the depression goes away, and I know who I am. And I trust him more, and I understand I can't rely on myself. I need to rely on God, and I, rely on others, right? I rely on my mother, especially my mother. I'm very honest with her, very open about what I feel, and I have to, listen too. It's not just listen, but I have to really listen, right? So now I'm actually kind of good now, and I don't want to get too personal, right? Because this is not what this video is about. This video is really about learning new habits to change your old ones. So the other previous videos, if I upload the other one, now I have to, because given the context of what I just said, it's I'm cooking, I'm actually learning how to cook, right? I know I'm older. It's like, come on, man, you should learn, but I never had a passion behind it. I don't know why. I just feel like I have to have a passion in order to do it. That's how I always been. If I don't have that drive in me, I won't do it. But this is why it was hard for me, because I never had that drive, never had that passion to actually do that. But now that I'm kind of just going in without having any of that, kind of finding my passion again, I'm learning skills, I'm learning new things, and I'm actually having a good time. Now I'm kind of developing a passion for cooking. Maybe, I'm not sure yet, right? This is like the second tries I'm doing it, but I'm actually creating a recipe book, like sort of like an arts and crafts book, where I take pictures and well, videos, right? Snapshot them, and then I just cut them out and then put them and I label them and label the dates and everything. And it's so far I got 2 pages, right? But I really want to make this book. At first, it was just to learn, but now I'm with my mother. I never had this relationship. I mean, of course, I have a relationship with my mother, but in this type of sense where we're cooking together, usually we do sewing together or we do something like this. But sometimes I'm very hard-headed, and I don't want my mom to tell me what to do. I'm obviously, everybody understand what I'm saying because, you know, we're kids here, but also, you know, I mean, we're adults, but we were once kids, and we know we don't want to listen to our moms, right? But when we get older, we kind of have to, and then we realize, oh shoot, she was right. So, and sometimes I feel like, man, when I was always doing the clothing, I really felt like that would always gonna be the thing that me and my mom can get close, but it never really felt that. It's always felt like I knew what's right, I knew what's best. She didn't know, therefore I won't listen to her because, you know, she what she know, right? She just started, right? But that's what was my problem. But when I'm cooking, not only that she knows a lot more, but she's very humble and she has humility and she allows me to make mistakes, tells me to, and corrects me with love and shows me. And now we're laughing, and it's like sort of like a bonding experience, which I never had. And I felt so good when we finished our cooking. I really wish I showed the end result. I didn't do that, but I felt really good because not only it was a recipe that I wanted to learn, but it was also a recipe that my mom was passed down to my grandma that sadly passed away. And it's like this connection now. It's meaningful to me. So, and it's like a memory now locked in. So, and I feel really good about it, and I felt really good about it, and it really, really halted my thoughts were running, passing, like going crazy, and then it kind of halted it, and it made me understand that I need to try things. You know, I have to go for it. I have to put myself in that and put myself out there, and though it is scary, but it's okay. And it's okay to be humble and to show humility. And that's it. I don't want to make this intro too long. I know that was an intro. Can you believe that? I'm preaching at this point. But anyway, but yeah, so that is it, you know. And now we're going right into the clothing. My mom was supposed to show me she knows how to do the measurements, but she's not here. So I'm going to do it by myself. And hopefully I don't botch it. But if I do, I do. And it don't matter. That's how it got to be. So, and that's what we're doing. And I got my Coke with me, so we're up, guys. Anyway, so since I'm trying to learn Spanish, like I told you before, right? I'm gonna show you my camera. Here it is. So hopefully you can see that, and I see the mess that's back there. Anyway, you can. So I put it in español. So this is all in Spanish, and I'm learning. I'm trying to learn more Spanish. So I'm like, why not? You know, why not learn Spanish? You know, and I mean. When I mean why not, I meant to say like why not just put it in my stuff, you know? So this is my history, as you can see. I've been watching a lot of random stuff, but anyway, but I like these 2 videos right here. We're gonna click here, and I don't like this video that much. I do though, but it's weird because I know he was a Christian at one point. This guy. Now he's an agnostic or an atheist, and then Cosmic Skeptic was also an atheist, but now agnostic. And it's weird because they know more than Christians now, or you know, it's cool though. I'm not saying that's of course Christians have issues too. I'm not saying. I think they were talking about nationalism and all that kind of stuff. So, a very complicated mess. But anyway, all right.
A mi canal. Hoy vamos a aprender cómo trazar molde de camisa para hombre.
Alright, so great, that's my mom. Dad, what? I know. Okay, I'll eat later. Thank you. Bye. Anyway, she's home. I guess she's home. That was why the dogs are barking. But anyway, what he's saying that we're gonna make moldes, we're gonna make tracing patterns of men, and we're going to learn it. So right now we're going to do talla. Okay, so talla. So where it says cómo hacer molde de camisa para hombre talla M. So it's saying how to make measurements for patterns of men size medium. So there you go. By the way, I know some Spanish. All right, I know Spanish. All right, it's just that my speaking it is hard. Me writing it is hard. So that is only the two things that I'm stumped on all the time. But what I can translate, I can definitely translate. I'm translating my church all the time. So I know all types of lingos, and I know all types of, I guess, like different, how can I say it? Like fluent Spanish, because there are different versions of Spanish. You have Honduran Spanish that has their own version. You have Salvadorian Spanish, its own version. Same thing with Mexico. It's like everybody. So it's like it's a very complicated issue, and it's a very big mess too. It's not like English.
Un molde de camisa talla mediano. Estas son las medidas que yo voy a utilizar para este molde. Contorno de pecho 96 centímetros.
So contorno de pecho, I'm assuming he's talking about the measurement of the chest. And then el tono de cuello, which is the neck, but I just said it too, bro. See, this is what happens when you do Spanish and English, you forget some words. Collar, there we go. And then he says largo, I think that's 74. Largo means just, I'm assuming he's saying length, right? That's what I'm assuming. These are centimeters, by the way. And then he says ancho espalda. So then he's talking about the back. So I'm assuming it's the same weight from the length. It's the same weight from the back. That's what I'm assuming he's putting here. And then it says alto de... I don't know what that is actually. Is that an S or Cisa? Cisa? Cisa. Or a giga. Let's see what he says. That's not comma. See how it corrected it here? I mean, well, the caption said comma, and look, he actually put a comma. That's a comma. That's a period. So
Alto
it's a
de
decimal.
sisa. Entonces, comencemos.
All right, we're gonna start now. So hopefully it's gonna be like a montage, and hopefully I'll stop here and there, and we will go. So as you can see, my Spanish is not the best, but I'm not that bad. All right, I'm not that bad. Okay, I'm pretty okay. All right, when it comes to it. So anyway, we're learning. So again, we'll see what happens.